Friends, welcome to another episode of Old Ladies Know Stuff. And today I have a special treat for you. I am not interviewing an old lady. The crowd roars. Yay. I am going to interview someone that I have a lot of respect for. He is a young man that has written an amazing book. His name is Timothy Benefield. He's a writer by day and a writer by night. Anyone who's an author knows what he's talking about. Timothy strives to write stories for Christ's soldiers, equipping teens to stand and fight the darkness of the world. Timothy is a pastor's kid. I love pastor's kid. He is a reader. He loves to read. And I'm sorry, I'm skipping now. I'm going to make, okay. I don't know how to say this, vociferous. He is a vociferous reader. Is that how you say it? And he always loves words in novels, words in poems, especially big fancy words like vociferous. He scrawled for books, his first book, if it could be called that, on a few note pages, following the epic quest of Mike the spy and Ninja the ninja as they vanquish the evil alien guy. And then he goes on, and there's so much more you can read about him, and I'll put his bio in the show notes. But his goal is to write stories that provide an escape into reality, not to hide you from your problems, but to sharpen your sword for the battle. Isn't that cool? Stories that help you love and comprehend the Bible, not just in your brain, but in your soul. Stories that equip you to fight the battles of life with deep but practical biblical truth. Stories for Christ's soldiers. When Timothy's not writing, he enjoys drawing maps to accompany his fantastical worlds. He collects swords and knives, not to play with, but to look at. I'll say he's definitely not playing with them when no one is looking, is what he said. Playing the piano, hiking, and traveling to cool places. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Timothy Benefield. So happy to have you here.
It's great to be here. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you. So I want to get right into this. I read that whole bio, but let's just start out with talking about this book. Tell me the name of your book and a little bit about what I have the words here, but I want to hear it from you. The name of your newest book and what it's about.
My book is called Before the Fire Burns, and it's a Christian fantasy adventure is my subtitle for it. And it's about a 15-year-old boy. He has he and his brother, like best friends, and he's attacked on his village, and he ends up going out on this quest for revenge against the people who attacked his village, kind of broke his world, and has to learn how to deal with that, how to grow with that.
Okay. And I've read the book. It's really great. So what's the takeaway for most of my audience is moms that are always looking for good books for their kids to read, sons and daughters. What is the good for moms, like the takeaway their child is going to come away with if they read your book?
Well, it is my belief that explaining the exact takeaway, the exact theme, is kind of like explaining the climax of the book. It's like it's better to experience it firsthand, but just kind of in a general sense. It's about he has to kind of grapple with his own inner darkness that we can all sense in ourselves, but sometimes forget is there. Yeah. And I want readers to walk away knowing how much they've been forgiven by God, by others, and to kind of see themselves and see others in that light.
That's great. Yes, I love that. That's wonderful. All right. I'll put the book cover in the show notes, and I will put his outline of the story in there. Not the outline, but how he describes the book. And I just want to jump right into the questions. Where, Timothy, did you get the idea for this book, and how did you even develop the setting and the characters? I'm fascinated because I'm not a fantasy writer, so it's amazing.
Well, I've loved airships for a long time. I don't know how it started, but it's just been a fascination of mine. And I've been kind of developing the world for quite some time because of that. But then at a certain point, I actually did a paper for English for my second to last year of high school. And I did a whole report on the rise and fall of airships, how they came about, the history of them, the technology behind them, and then why they're not around anymore so much. And that kind of broke things open where I thought, how could I make a world that with some like fantasy solutions bring back these airships? How could I solve some of the problems that they face in the real world?
That's really good. And I'm just fascinated that you were as young as you were. And this is technically the third book that you've written, right?
If you want to count everything. It's actually the fifth, the
Okay.
fourth published.
Okay, great. That's awesome. And I will put in the show notes the Amazon link to get your books so they can find you at the end. How can a mom encourage her child who wants to be a writer? What are some practical steps that can be taken?
There's a few things that my parents did to really help me that kind of paved the way for where I am now. One of the main things was just the constant support and encouragement. I know some aspiring young writers who maybe their parents or friends or family, like extended family, don't really respect the desire to be a writer. They think it's, it's not a real job. It's just kind of a hobby, something you might do on the side. And maybe that's all it'll be.
Yeah.
But the constant support and encouragement, kind of like sticking it up on the fridge, so to speak, sticking at the drawing, really helped me. Good. And I think also making time for it, making it a part of the school day could be helpful. I was able to, like I said, research for a book for an English paper. Yeah. So it's kind of being able to implement it into your daily routine already.
Yeah. And your mom was cheering you on every step of the way. And I know your dad was too. I know your parents. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. What challenges did you face while you were writing the book, and what'd you do to overcome those challenges?
Probably the main challenge was I actually first published and wrote this book one chapter at a time on my blog. And it was a challenge keeping up with that deadline. I was not used to that. And I had to basically write and edit each chapter week by week. So it really helped me learn how to write on a deadline, how to get things done in an orderly fashion.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good motivation. And we kind of talked about the takeaway for your readers. What was the target age, or what is the target age for the readers of this book?
I'm mainly writing for ages about 12 to 16, okay. And specifically males, but I think anyone can enjoy it also.
That's good. Okay. And so is it something that, like, I know homeschool moms, a lot of them read to their kids. Is it something you would suggest would be a good reading time for the moms to engage into? I loved the book, just reading it.
I think it could. The chapters are not overly long. So it's kind of thing where, you read a chapter before bed, or, read a chapter, during your morning routine or wherever it goes in. So I believe it would be a good family read aloud.
Yeah, I think it would. And it also promotes good conversations with parent who's reading to the child, because there's some, like you said, there's a darkness in all of us that we have to face. And I saw the characters have to face some of those dilemmas to make the right choice. And what if they didn't make the right choice? It was a good prompt for parents to engage their kids in some really contemplative thinking, right?
Right. And I do hope it brings those kind of discussions for families.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And so what's your favorite part of the story?
Well, I have to say my favorite part would probably be there's a big airship battle at the end between like small airship fleets on both sides. And I had probably too much fun researching for and writing that scene, kind of thinking about how airships would fight in this world.
That's great. And then who's your favorite character in the book?
That's a tough one. I know basically every writer says like picking your favorite child. But my favorite might be basically the mentor character, Captain Vance, the captain of the airship that Rush spends a lot of the book on. He is kind of very wise, insightful, has seen a lot of things in his life, and is just very compassionate toward Rush as well, trying to help him grow.
Yeah, that's great. While we're on that, let's talk about that. I am all about mentoring, and my popular book, Moms Raising Sons to Be Men, talks about finding godly mentors for your sons and your daughters also. I've raised both, but let's talk about sons. Some of the godly mentors may be your own dad. I have a lot of single moms that watch that don't have that. I know this is an off the cuff question, but can you talk about some people that have mentored you and what that has meant to you in your own life?
Definitely. Well, my dad would be a big one, both in like developing character and developing writing skills to some extent. I'd say another influence has been a pastor nearby Jerry Scheidbach. He's been a big support in my life. There's been a number of pastors that my dad knows that have just been very encouraging for my writing, supporting. We'll text them with questions about the Bible, and they'll come back and we can try to give answers the best they can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and then let's talk about Thomas Umstattd Jr., because I've seen you in the, we were in that same group together. What was it? The author blueprint, book launch blueprint. Yeah, I know some of Thomas's story, and he was young when he started in the world of authors and writing, and he wrote some stuff. One of his blogs actually went viral, so he turned it into a book, and he was very young. But yeah, I feel like there's also an influence that I see in him rubbing off on you. Just you're taking seriously your craft and you're learning from experts.
I would definitely, of course, he hasn't coached me.
But he has, because you joined his blueprint marketing.
That's true.
That took initiative on your part to say, yes, I want to go sit under him and Jim Rupart's coaching, right?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. And I listened to his podcast, Novel Marketing, almost every week. So I'd say, even though he hasn't personally coached me, those episodes have been a big help for me in thinking about taking writing seriously, and have been a help in this book launch as well.
Right. And that's encouraging for those of us that I coach lots of people through virtual, through my books, through it's not one-on-one personally, but I get letters and emails, and so do, I'm sure, Thomas and Jim. Yes. Because they're pouring courage into you. I mean, even the Q&A time, I watched them take you on stage and let you ask the questions that you wanted to ask. That's a lot. And I'm going to tag Thomas and Jim in this so they can know what an impact they're having. And so as a son, I think that might be something you could even encourage moms. Like if their kid wants to be a writer, they can encourage them. There's a lot of godly mentors out there for the writing and marketing world, right?
There was 2 books I would specifically recommend for getting into writing, kind of an introductory level. One is Wordsmithy by Douglas Wilson, and also Did God Put a Book Inside of You by Jerry Ross. Both of those are godly writers. I'm pretty familiar with both of them. Yeah. And they give that Christian overview and introduction to writing that I would definitely recommend.
Right. And that is the key, to have a biblical worldview, that your child is not just being taught, go write something to put your mark in the world and be famous. It's like,
express yourself.
Right. Your books are to bring a biblical worldview to the young reader, and for them to evaluate even their own lives in light of the characters' dilemmas. And it's really, I hope you keep writing. So tell us where you're headed. What's next for you?
Well, next after this is college, actually. I'm going to get a degree in pastoral theology, trying to pursue being a pastor and a writer, kind of both together for, in the future years.
Yeah.
And I don't know when the next book will come out, but, on my email list, I'll be continuing giving updates, and just hopefully it'll be pretty soon.
Yes, that's great. And you're going to a college that my husband's cousin is he the chancellor, the president of the college? He's the pastor of the church where the school was founded. Go ahead and put a shout out for the name of the school.
It's Golden State Baptist College in Santa Clara, California.
Yeah, so not far. So you'll see your family sometimes.
Yes.
You'll be living out there though, right?
Correct. Yes, in the dorms on campus.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. And then also let's talk about your newsletter. I saw on your website that you can offer a free resource. What is that for people who sign up for your newsletter?
Yes. So for everyone who signs up for my newsletter, I will send a free short story, and you can see more about that website, kind of the description cover for that. And then you'll be on the email list. You'll get I send out one newsletter every month with book reviews from what I read that month and just writing life updates. And then throughout the month, I'll sometimes send other news as it comes up. So that way you can stay in the loop with any future books that come out.
That's wonderful. And also, if moms subscribe to your newsletter, they can then share those resources with their child who may not have an email account, or maybe they have an email account and they can sign up themselves. I know parents are wise about not just giving their kids free reign to the internet, but they can discern that biblical authors that come through that's also entertaining. I mean, we want our kids to love to read. And
Right.
when we give them boring books or books that don't have a biblical worldview, that affects the way they see life, right?
Right.
So this book is a good resource to get into the hands of parents and homeschooling families, as well as kids that are going to public schools that are reading some books that are trash and some of them that are classics. But yeah, it's a great gift, and it's a great book for grandparents. I also work with a lot of grandparents, and we're always looking for the next book to buy for our grandkids that are how do you say that? Vociferous readers.
Vociferous readers.
Vociferous. I thought it was ferocious, and then when I looked, I'm like, no, that's vociferous. Yeah, so it's a great resource. So where can people find your books?
You can find them on Amazon. Is the one place they're sold right now.
Okay.
And you can find links to that on my website, timothybenefield.com. Go to the books page, and as soon as the book is out, then it will be all available there, all the links.
That's great. And when will the book launch?
On July 27th.
July 27th. So we're just a few days. What is today? The 18th. So we're like 9 days
Just
away.
around the corner.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so everybody support this amazing young and up and coming author. You'll be able to say, I knew him when, buy his book, share this resource with your friends. And I'm excited to see where the Lord leads you, Timothy. And I'm excited you're going to be going to Bible college.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything you want to say, final words?
I will add real quick on my newsletter. I always include content warnings in all the books. I know how hard it is from experience to find books that you can open up and not be afraid of what's inside.
Yeah.
So that is one thing I prioritize with my books that I write and with my book reviews. That if you pick it up, you don't have to worry about what's inside. You can know ahead of time this is something that's not going to make you uncomfortable or tempt you to sin.
That's great. Fantastic. Okay. Well, thanks so much. I will put, I don't have the cover. I need a picture, and I don't honestly, I don't know how to put it up here. So it'll be in the show notes on the audio on Old Ladies Know Stuff. This is on my YouTube channel, but you can also get all the show notes. I'll put them here, and I'll also put them in the show notes for Old Ladies Know Stuff. And that will launch the audio version next week sometime. So thanks again for being with us. I certainly appreciate you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on.
Thank you.